Here.
Do you want the leash or do you want me to?
I want you to have the leash so I can kind of see how she walks with you first.
Okay.
And we're just gonna,
Come this way?
oh no, whatever, once she gets distracted. Actually, now that she is distracted with somebody, call her name once and don't pull on the leash or anything. I want to see how reactive she is.
Pretty.
Very good. Good girl. Oh, hi.
I don't know if it's my tone or if it's the name, but she's pretty good about calling if you sound really happy.
What I can show you is there's a simple test that you can do to see if she if she's just responding to any kind of intonation towards her, or if she's actually responding to her name. So instead of saying pretty, we would say something that maybe ends, that starts with a hard syllable like a P, and then ends in like a E sound. So maybe, yeah, maybe something like that, right? Right. So, let's see. Think of any other words, and we'll whisper it here. Probably or Polly or something. And we'll wait until she is maybe distracted by somebody. If you have to get going, that's fine. I can always do it later with her.
It should be fine. I signed it off. I did. I took it off on my phone.
We'll just wait for her to kind of get distracted with something. Hi. She's adorable.
She is. She's great. She's a good puppy. He's a guider.
She seems to be walking pretty well on leash too. She's not too excited and pulley.
No. And if anything, she stays inward, which is what I would want as opposed to home. Yeah, I don't have to get her a harness or anything, because she just does that.
That's good. Here, we'll walk towards our neighbors to see if that'll kind of distract her. And then when she's kind of focused on them with the leash tight, then try the alternate name once. All right. Oh, wait. Okay.
Bobby. Bobby.
Kind of. You also didn't say it as like,
right
yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Bobby.
Maybe. And try.
I'm gonna say next.
We'll go back on the grass here so she's not on the hot asphalt. It shouldn't be too hot still, but. Okay, so now this time just stand still and let her kind of get distracted with things. And now try it.
Beanie. Beanie.
Good. Oh, that's fine. Good.
Okay,
And then,
after that,
yeah,
excellent.
we'll go over here again. Then when she starts kind of pulling, her just gets distracted. Perfect. Okay, now try saying her name. Her normal name.
Pretty. Pretty.
Right. Oh, hi.
Hi, baby.
It's okay. So all it shows is like she is probably listening and recognizing certain sound cues, right? But then also, even if it is her name, if she's too distracted with things, she won't be able to hear it and respond.
That happens outside a lot. If I really need her to come back, like if I'm trying to leave and I need her to come in, I don't ever leave her outside.
Right.
And it would be nice.
And that's probably why it's either like the combination of the distance, because the sound isn't as hard, because once we get to a certain range that our sound drops off, and then also her distractions of everything else. So if she's too distracted, kind of like a concert, like if you're at a concert, that music's playing really loud and she won't be able to hear you, even if you're just calling her from a couple rows back, yelling her name.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that because for us, we don't notice it, but dogs, because all of the scents and stuff, it's invisible to us, but it's really loud to them, right? So we have to kind of teach her to be able to recognize that kind of that faint sound in the midst of everything. So just a little bit of name training would probably be helpful as well.
Great.
And then we'll. And, oh, it's okay. Oh yeah, you have to like reset it and all that stuff to make sure your personal information's not on it.
I liked it.
Well, that's good. Usually the factory reset works.
Exactly.
take out the memory card, things like that. Hi. So this time, all we're gonna do is just test if she has any kind of separation anxiety, especially with puppies. So just go ahead and start going that way, and we'll see what she does. Okay, so she wants to follow you, so that's really good. So she's bonded. Now I'm gonna hold her so she can't, and you just keep going. Yeah, well, I'll just see if she freaks out to try to get to you or not. She's doing pretty good. She's still interested, right? But she's not freaking out. You can just stop. Good girl. All right. A little bit. No, that's fine. That's pretty normal levels.
Oh yeah, like
Uh,
I think honestly she'll take anybody.
Nah, she definitely cares about you though, because she wanted to stay with you, and she started to kind of cry a little bit. So that's
Sometimes
good.
out of sight, I think it's.
A little bit harder.
Oh, I
Yeah.
think it's easier. I think
Oh,
it's
that's good.
kind of 10. Oh my god. Okay, it's dead. It's supposed to be good. She's on NexGard and all that, or she's on medication, so she actually shouldn't have it at all.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's a lot around these parts too. I usually would
okay.
spray myself, but
Oh, I don't mind at all. I just want you to know she has her stuff. She won't bring food in your house.
oh, no problem. We'll check her out when she's also done that. So that's good to know. You know, she's pretty much a good level of bonded. I've had pups before that as soon as they started to walk away, they would pull and cry to get back to mom and things like that. Yeah, and that's just lets me know that we might need a day or an evening or two to get them kind of used to a new area without their mom.
Yeah.
So I think, like you said, she'll probably be okay to readjust, especially with all the other pups kind of distracting her. And then the last thing would be like, I would say that the last thing would be like a flight risk kind of scenario. Oh,
Okay.
forgot to charge the gimbal. And all that is how much you think that like she would run or something if she got startled, right?
We haven't really, if anything she runs, she gets scared.
That's good.
But we haven't really had, thankfully, many instances where she's been scared.
Hi. She seems a little anxious because we're not doing something,
Yeah.
right?
Or she's a busy mom.
Well, that's good. It means like once we kind of get her going and giving her things to do, that she'll probably be more receptive.
Well, everything I read about this breed, it says that they want to learn and like they want to be like trained. Like, or she does really well with rewards. Like you'll tell the times she did go potty in the yard, like as she was standing up from her squat, is when I was like putting the treat in her mouth really fast. And
Right.
So I wanted her to really get it. And she would just seem so proud, like when I would praise her and give her a treat, like she seems like she really wants to do good.
So you might have to work on developing her ability to hold it as well, because especially with smaller puppies
Yeah.
and being younger,
Even if she could use
it
a keypad,
doesn't develop.
I'll take that. Out in emergent situations, like what if I'm out and I'm out an hour longer than I thought?
Right.
You know, but I mean, I'd rather not do keypads at all.
Usually the way that we would use either the pea pads or the artificial turf is to give them a good alternate place that they can go potty, so they're not just randomly going throughout the house. Because usually even with pea pads, it's good for the potty training process, because if they learn to use it and you notice that they start going towards it, that's usually when you would recall them to do your potty routine outside.
Yeah.
Right? So you know she's going there to go potty, so instead you're like, okay, let's go this way and let's
At
go
least I know
potty
she's
outside.
recognizing the
Right.
sensation. She's knowing,
Right.
wait, there's a spot for this.
So that's why, potty pads and the artificial turf and things like that, they aren't a bad idea. The problem usually comes when parents don't eventually wean them off of it, right?
Well,
You
I
become
can't
reliant
handle
on it, yeah.
I just,
Yeah.
but
It's
I'd rather if we can just cold turkey get her, that would be great.
yeah. I'll see what works best for her and see how bad it is.
Because I don't expect her to be able to pee for 8 hours. You know, she's that big. I don't
Yeah,
expect
no. The last was actually like a teacup Yorkie. Could hold it at max for like an hour 30.
Really?
Yeah, so not even like the kind of regular 2-hour mark. This one, it would be anywhere from like half an hour to an hour and a half at most, right? And it just depends because they're younger, so they haven't like really developed the muscles, and they're really small, so they can't really hold a lot. And especially when you're out in the summer and then you come back in and they're drinking a lot, they're gonna need to go sooner too.
It's
So
a hard cycle.
And that's what I wanted to touch base with you on with the food too, is because especially here, it's like boot camp. You know, they have chow time, and then everything gets picked up.
If you think that the schedule she goes on benefits her, I'll keep her on that schedule.
We'll see what it does. It's just because
the dog can get on that schedule.
yeah,
You know?
it's usually easier and better that way, because especially when you're potty training, I need to know. I generally will need to know when things are going in, and then I can see how long it takes for them usually to come out the other side, and then that way you'll be able to
That's a
recognize
really
a
good-
pattern.
Yeah, that's
right?
a really good idea.
But if she's kind of eating, grazing is what we call it, you know, if she's
It
just kind of
is.
grazing throughout the day,
That is
then it's going to be a lot harder, yeah, to like know when she might need or
Yeah.
not need to go potty.
Well, I actually
Yeah.
hadn't really thought too much about that, so I'm going to follow your recommendations on a feeding schedule, and I'll just go by that.
Yeah, we'll see how well she does with it. Usually pups that are used to grazing, it might take them like a time or two, but then they start to realize this, especially because she's going to be out and about working a lot, she's going to get hungry, and then whenever she sees everybody get excited for meal times, then they'll get excited too.
Okay. I need her
I'll
to
let you know if there are any
know.
complications, but usually it doesn't take them very long to realize that, oh, this is my time to eat, right?
Yeah. So I think she's so used to it being there that she doesn't know it's going to go away.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, not right now, maybe in a little bit. So I want her to know it's like now or never.
And sometimes I use that to actually have value, kind of like with training treats. I'll have the dog learn to heel by carrying their food bowl, because they'd be so interested in it, right, and having something to focus on. With her, we won't really have that option because she might not be as interested in it. But
Yeah.
maybe until later. Yeah, I think that's gonna be. Oh, let's do a little recall practice. I'll have her sit, stay, if you can.
Oh, sit.
Uh-huh.
Sit. Ready, sit. You sit. Sit.
Here, you want to try it with a treat?
Sure. All right, sit. No, sit.
There you go. Good.
Good girl.
Okay, and now ask her to stay.
Stay.
We'll probably end up just doing a lot of the basics while we're like waiting for her potty training, right, times and things like that anyways. So,
Stay. Try walk. Stay. Stay.
good. Now try to walk away.
Stay. Stay.
It's okay. Yeah, no, that's
Don't leave
fine.
me, Mom.
No, that's
I'm
fine.
gonna leave you.
Okay.
Or I'm sorry, if there's anything else you need, go ahead.
No, I was gonna ask you if there was anything else, because that's gonna probably be pretty good.
Yeah, sit, stay, potty train, good go.
Okay.
That's all I could want.
Oh, she's so sweet.
I love you.
That'll be good. So this morning, after she went potty, went ahead, took her back inside, let her get some water. She went back for a little bit of a nap, and tried to take her out now again before it gets too hot out, just to practice with her name and recall. She's been really good with listening. But I'm gonna have her on the longer leash, because I noticed last night during her potty training, she wanted to stick with me a little bit too much, and she would usually go and smell certain things only after the other dogs were interested in it. So I wanted to give her a longer leash so she can explore a little bit more, but then still practice her name for recall when we need it. Because I want her to start getting used to being outside and smelling and being in the grass as much as possible. And we'll do some leash work too to offset this later on. Her leash skills are actually pretty good, and just because she wants to just stick with you, but we'll keep furthering the development of that just through some leash exercises and some heel and focus work. Trying not to interrupt her too much for practice when she's going out into the grass and smelling, in hopes that she might need to go potty. And part of this is also to get her thirsty. So when she goes back in, she'll drink, and she'll also be tired from the walk, so she'll want to nap. And then getting her up from the nap in anticipation that she needs to go to the bathroom. So it's a good kind of continuous cycle for the potty training to actually keep her busy and out and about and productive. Here she is interested in that lady crossing the street, so I'll use her name now while she's distracted. Oh, I'm gonna have to hold on to the leash here. Gonna temporarily stop her from moving forward. Pretty. Hi. Good girl. Good listen. Good. And into a sit. Good. And with a lot of puppies and smaller pups in general, she's used to approaching and jumping up. So gonna be getting her used to approaching and sitting in front of me for a treat. So that was really good. You can tell the response was very much so delayed because she was focused on the person across the street, but she still did respond, and she came back nicely to sit. So that was really good. Especially during the summer heat. I'm going to try to keep the sessions a little bit on the short side, and then try to also stay in the shade whenever possible. Unfortunately for her, we won't be working inside as much because we really want her to have the opportunities to go to the bathroom outside, but we will try to take advantage of like the pet store or something like that too during the day. So in case she does have an accident, at least it's not at home and she can kind of still be outside and out and about when she has to go potty. So here, before she gets too distracted with the next person across the street, I'm going to try to use her name again. Pretty. Oh, good girl, Sid. Good job. Good. All right. So that time you can tell because she wasn't focused on somebody else across the street, her response time was a lot faster. But we really want her to be able to respond even when she's focused on something. Going to use the leash pressure here to create a boundary to stop her. Pretty. Yes, good girl. Good, right into the sit. Good job. Yeah. The reason why we want to continue to develop her name recognition, even though she's pretty good with it right now, is because when she is thinking about something else, whether it be a person or having to go to the bathroom, we want her to still hear her name and almost instinctively recall back to us. We can still add in the recall part, but it would be really good to have her naturally want to come back as soon as she hears her name, because that will help if she's inside in the boarding room or living room and you notice that she starts drifting to, the sides of the room or the corner of the room, to be able to easily use her name to call her back to start her potty routine of going outside. So once again, I'm gonna wait for her to kind of get distracted and a little bit ahead, and then I'll use her name. And this time, to help encourage her to recall back to me, I'm also gonna turn around as well. Pretty. Yes, good girl. Good girl. Oh, good sit, good job. Good. She's doing really well. She just displayed some good impulse control there. She started to pop up, but stopped herself midway and put herself back down in a sit without being asked. So she definitely is a quick learner. I think the main obstacle that's going to be for her is just setting new boundaries and routines. I'll keep observing her behaviors, but especially from last night, it really seemed like she was holding just for the opportunity to go inside, and I had to recall her a couple times and take her back outside. And even though it seemed like she needed to go to the bathroom, she would still hold it all the way up until she was so tired from all the walking that instead of going potty, she just went to bed. But then, as with most puppies, as soon as she woke up, I needed to take her outside immediately, and she went to the bathroom almost within 5 minutes of being out there. But she does have the capability to hold it, that's for sure. Because she drank water a couple times, once at 8 and again at 9:30, and she held it all the way until 6 a.m. in the morning. Same with her dinner. She got in a little bit late of a dinner because she came by late and had to get her settled in and everything. But she also didn't need to go number 2 until this morning as well. So good news is we're still accident free. Bad news is it seems like instead of her needing to learn to hold it, it's more her needing to learn where to go and when to go. Mostly where to go, because she also had a very interesting behavior that I had before with Delilah, where even though she at least wanted to go and pee on the grass, when it looked like she needed to go number 2, I tried to encourage her on the grass, but she would purposefully steer herself back onto the sidewalk. So she is looking for a hard, non-grassy surface to poop on. And that can definitely be a difficult habit to break as well, but we'll keep trying. Pretty good so far. I just wanted to add this little bit of commentary into the video for Mom, so that way she gets a play-by-play. I'll also be keeping track of when she goes potty through her messages. A good tip is that I like to utilize, because I always have my phone on me, is to take pictures of when she goes potty, even of accidents if it does happen inside, because that way you also have the details of the photo available, the time and the day, and that way it just gives you kind of like a log or a record that you can look back on if you need anything for reference. Or in my case here, because she just started trying to figure out what her pattern is and what her usually hold times for her potty will be. Pretty. Oh, good girl. Good sit. Good job. Good girl.